This session is going to be about higher education as an enabler to the knowledge economy. Knowledge economies, knowledge is created at the universities to push the boundaries of the understanding of human understanding of its universe. Yeah. The maximum impact of knowledge is only realized if we can convert this knowledge into economic value. In the past 20 to 30 years, we've been hearing about knowledge economy, and we've been seeing 5-year plans of countries, and particularly in Saudi Arabia, talking about knowledge economy and the use of knowledge economy to create valuable jobs and create good earning jobs for the youth of the country. The driver of the knowledge economy is its ability to be converted into knowledge, into economic value, as I said earlier. And that value creation process is a very complex process, an interrelated process. It includes interrelations between research and development, intellectual property, innovation, entrepreneurship, incubation, angel investing, venture capital investing, private equity investing, intellectual IPOs, and a lot of other terms that have been created to make use of this economic value created by knowledge. We are humbled. I am particularly humbled today and honored to be chairing this session. Starting our discussion today is Dr. Mohammad Abdulaziz Al-Ohali. Dr. Al-Ohali is the Deputy Minister of for Educational Affairs in the Ministry of Higher Education in Saudi Arabia. Dr. Al-Ohali graduated from King Fahd University of Petroleum for his BSc and Masters, and then went to North Carolina Duke University to get his PhD. He is a well-known figure in Saudi Arabia, so those of us in Saudi Arabia would probably not need the rest of this introduction, but I'll go ahead anyway. He was the project manager for the national project, Saudi Arabia Higher Education and Strategic Planning. He was the Dean of Graduate Studies at King Fahd University for Petroleum and Minerals. He was also the Dean of Scientific Research in that university. He has published over 42 publications and is a member of the American Physical Society and Health Physical Society. Dr. Al-Ohali, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Abdulaziz. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a great pleasure for me to participate in this forum. I think it is timely input and also the discussion and the topics that are being chosen. I would like also to thank the organizer for inviting me to shed some light on the effort of higher education in Saudi Arabia to the attendees and the participants of this forum. The topic of higher education being an enabler of the knowledge society and knowledge economy is very important to talk about it, but I think it's important before the discussion about exactly how higher education is going to be a transformer or the driving engine for the transformer. It's essential to see where is the context that we are talking about it in the knowledge society and also the higher education. Apologize for the colors for the presentation. I think it does not match with so there is some technical problem. Otherwise, Okay, the presentation will be focusing on three main areas, talking about the higher education and knowledge society and its socio-economic development. And then we'll talk about the higher education reform and transformation. And the majority of the discussion will be how Saudi Arabia did this transformation or working on this transformation. Maybe you recall the evolution of this knowledge society started as we go from the agriculture area, and with the science and technology advancement at that time, we moved to a new area, which is the industrial area, and another also driving engines introduced through the ICT, information and communication technology, moved us to information society. But nowadays, with the innovation and the capitalization of ideas, we are moving to the knowledge society. We can easily say that this movement with the higher education becoming not only vital and critical, but also complex and dynamics, which requires a lot of insight to go through it. And when we are talking about the development, we should bear in mind the general definition, and the best thing that I quoted from UNESCO when they talk about that this development should cover progress of individual, equality, standard of living and well-being, as well as the environment and sustainability. So we are talking about movement from one state to another state. We want this development coming for nations, and we want to move it to the knowledge society. How we are going to make this a transformation. We will see how the higher education is fitting to do this transformation. This requires from us to know some characteristics of this knowledge society that we are talking about, and can be summarized as four main pillars for that society. Human capital is very essential for this society. Research and development and innovation is a key, another key also characteristics that should be introduced in this society. And if we move on, the new technologies like nanotechnology, pharmaceutical, and some other technologies that are also taking a lion's share in this society. And another also pillar, which is the entrepreneurship and its dynamics for making these characteristics of this society. For the reform of the higher education, when we look to the seeking the excellence, reaching what is meant for higher education to its objective, we have to identify the challenges. We have also to know what are the opportunities, capitalizing on the trends that are available. When we talk about the challenges, there are many challenges, from globalization to internationalization to access to funding to quality, name it. But when you look through many systems, higher education system, you will find there are four major challenges that I can claim that no single higher education system can escape from this. Yes, the degree of severity is different and the variation is different, but they will not escape from these major challenges. Talking about access, increasing the opportunity of learning, talking about funding the system, talking about quality of the system, and also talking about the employability, the matching between the graduates and the demand on their need for development. So those four are very fundamental to any system, as I said, with varying degrees according to the different environments. But again, with the same thing, also with these challenges, there are opportunities, strong political will and support, creativity and innovations start flourishing. New accreditation criteria are being taken place. Agreement on the need of the reform is another opportunity to need to capitalize it. New delivery methods being introduced, e-learning, distance learning, and name it. Also the importance of higher education being in the welfare and the notions, and also introducing more to the community services and development of nations. So the role of higher education becoming more influencing than ever in the knowledge economies and knowledge-based societies. And universities and higher education systems are supposed to be the engines of change and the drivers for this socio-economic development, which require at least two important development and changes. The change from a system that focuses only on knowledge to move to one which also values and engineers the development of high levels skills. And also the other change that to ensure that students have a structural exposure to multicultural and international environments where there can be developed emotional intelligence, and also important for the self-development, for the interpersonal communication, as well as for the intercultural understanding. These are two fundamental changes in the higher education in order really to co-op and match with the knowledge society requirements. The higher education now curriculum need to be balanced with these new requirements. So we can very easily summarize that the balanced curriculum should address knowledge as before, but should also address the skills, should address the attitudes and the values in order to come up with this modern society demands. When we talk about the skills, we are talking about important skills, technical competences, talking about lifelong learning, talking about critical thinking, talking about communication, talking about practical aptitudes and entrepreneurship and other important skills that needs to be instilled and engineered within the delivery of higher education. This new higher education can be described in many terms. Newly terms been moving around through different experts, world-class higher education, where this world-class higher education should take some description of its sustainability. The solution that this higher education providing should be a long range, should be taking so many issues, not only addressing critical issues or challenges that are facing within certain number of years. Should be aligned with national plans. There are some national plans within the country, for example, that this higher education should be in line with other national plans. Also taking integration with other providers of post-secondary educations, not only taking individual for university as well as vocational or others. There should be some integration. Another also diversity, of utilizing different diversity of methods, utilizing the e-learning, the distance learning, adult learning, professional training, and other things. And also this system should have some flexibility for studying and working, different articulation between 2-degree system to 4-degree system to master and PhD. So great flexibility should be introduced in order for this higher education system to work in this new society. So we can put this piece together, moving the national development through this world-class higher education, taking into consideration the challenges being internal challenges, as we said, access and funding and quality and employability, as well as external challenges like globalization, brain drain, mobility, internationalization, cross-border education. Introducing this world class with its characteristics will move us to the knowledge society requirements. Now, how we are doing it in Saudi Arabia? Oh, sorry. For those who are not so familiar with Saudi Arabia, it's over 2.5 million square kilometers, population about 28 million. There are about 5 million students in the K-12 general education. And for the higher education, now we are over 1 million students. How this is fitting with the science and technology plan. The science and technology plan for the 2020, they have it through the KAXT, King Abdulaziz City of Science and Technology, have developed the science technology plan, and they put 3 stages for that, moving from 2012 until 2020, moving different sectors for moving Saudi Arabia through the knowledge economy. We are talking about the socio-economic system and the ecosystem of higher education and making the integration with the 9th development plan, Tatweer, King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, also the National Plan of Science and Technology plans and some other plans, economic cities, National Plan for the ICT, the other also initiatives that are taking place in Saudi. This is the ecosystem of the higher education. And nowadays, the higher education having 25 public universities under the ministry, and also the private higher education moving to 9 universities and 25 or 26 private colleges. There are some important arms, which are the National Commission for Academic Assessment and Accreditation, and National Center for Measurement and Assessment, and some other also higher education entities like in the vocational training, technical vocational training, and the Royal Commission of Jubail and Yanbu also have some colleges, and some other specialized institutions considered to be post-secondary education. The plan that went through Saudi Arabia, focusing on a national project called AFAQ, focused on 3 main objectives, which is developing a long-range plan, 25 years, and also having an implementation plan detailed for the 5 years, but ensuring that this mechanism has insisting on the processes and also the culture of planning and strategies. The project ended up with 3 main dimensions that the system is moving through. The first one is differentiation, differentiating the missions of the university. So creating university with different mission, focused different mission, one intensive for research, one intensive for education, and one intensive for community colleges, one comprehensive. We have the e-university, virtual university, and some other different type of universities. Another dimension is the expansion, to continue expansion and making the availability of learning all over, either by having regional distribution as well as also different levels of degrees. The third is the quality that need to be embedded through not only the curriculum, but also through the administration and the processes that are taking place within these institutions. The overall 3 strategic pillars, quality, differentiation, and expansion, with a 20 strategic goal across tracks that has been established: research and innovation, financing, human capital, curriculum and programs, leadership and governance, and access and internationalization. And with that, 40 implementation programs is taking place to address these objectives and to ensure that they are delivering the objective with indicators and also evaluation terms that are taking place from last year. So developing a world-class system by institutionalizing the process and the system with world-class infrastructure through mission differentiation system, we are hoping to reach in 2025 world-class higher education system. Let's talk finally about the achievements so far about the system. Within the last 10 years, we moved until now, as I said, over 1 million students. Just to remind you, in 1945, there was only 21 systems in the higher education with only 9 faculties. Now, 92% of the high school graduates are accommodated in the university level, and 56 of them are female. We have scholarship students, King Abdullah Scholarship Program, now reaching over 130,000 students. And also the private higher education is being supported strongly, and 9 university and 26 private colleges already in place. Also, another area that are focused on the higher education is the specialized areas, specialized subjects. In the last 6 years, we're focused on engineering, sciences, medicine, computer sciences, and some important human also subjects like administration and law and some other needed for the society disciplines. And you can see the numbers are mushrooming and quietly. We have now reaching 29 medical colleges, 27 engineering colleges, and so on. And also focusing on community college, reached 51 community colleges across Saudi Arabia. The progress for the scholarship, King Abdullah Scholarship Program, reaching now all continents almost, focusing on the disciplines that are needed for the development, and maturing for all levels, BS as well as Master and PhD. The initiatives that have been taking place, and this is one of the areas that were focused, institutionalizing the changes and the development by establishing identities, not only through just programs, but also centers for assessment, center for quality, center for early learning, center for research and development, center for leadership, center for financing a higher education fund, and some statistics as well as translation. These are important arms and wings to establish the system and also make the sustainability for the changes. For the research and technology transfer, increasing the productivity so far from the output from the university, reaching more than 8,000 ISI publication, aligning research with the national needs, innovation and patenting, research funding moving and from 0.25 in 2001, now reaching more than 1% in 2010. Technovalleys and Science Park are being established, and also academic chair sponsorship. The internationalization is very important, creating the world-class universities, as we mentioned, the faculty and student exchange taking place in different programs and different also agreements for the universities, and the King Abdullah Scholarship Program, as I mentioned earlier. Since its relevance, I think I should make a pause on the 3 mega technovalleys that have been established in Dhahran and Riyadh and Jeddah. These to satisfy the demands of the knowledge-based industry and to commercialize its research outcomes, and also enhancing the research environments and encouraging more the researcher and the faculty and the graduates to participate in the incubation program, and also to create spin-off knowledge. This involved creating research centers, innovations, and also business incubators. Okay, this is one of them, Dhahran Techno Valley in King Fahd University. And you can see already well-established companies starting their R&D. You can see Schlumberger, General Electric, Siemens, Saudi Aramco, some other also good industry. They have investing on this important transformation towards knowledge economy. Similarly, King Saud University, they established also Riyadh Techno Valleys, And we can see also very good also number of international companies and local companies that already establishing their R&D centers. You can see SABIC and Sanyo and some others. The last point that I would like to just raise it, maybe this is thought for discussion, where I see the opportunities for this business partnership. From the academic side and the university and the academic here in the United States, I can see the joint academic program in science and technology and medical. This is one important areas. Joint research project where funding are available from both sides. Skill competence and enhancement for students is very key, and this is a major things that are moving now in the university should participate with. And also contributing to the new modes of learning delivery. We are investing on e-learning in particular, and also virtual learning and distance learning. For the business side, the knowledge-based industry, I think, is very attractive, creating their own R&D, technology-driven enterprises and business incubators. The human capital training and development, either faculty, staff, and students, and many programs all over Saudi University are being conducted. In the last 3 years, over 7,000 faculty members coming to United States and some other in Australia and in Europe for faculty training. I think this is another opportunity for also development. Partnership to develop internship programs with US companies, so either in USA as well as Saudi Arabia. And this is another important step. I think as we mentioned, the skills are important factor, and many disciplines are in Saudi Arabia now taking about 7 or 8 months for working in industry, and Saudi students are very enthusiastic to participate in these and from the US companies either in Saudi Arabia or here in the United States. Also in the new university campuses infrastructure, there are a lot of opportunity for investment, being hardware also as well as software. These are some of the things that may be good thought to discuss. Thank you very much.